Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth and today we're talking about the flop that I think Nike just took at the Boston Marathon. Today is, I don't even know what today is. Today is April 17th and the Boston Marathon is on Monday, and this is coming out the day I am recording it. And Nike decided to post this on the Boston Marathon, and it says runners welcome, walkers tolerated. And a lot of people have big feelings about this, so let's get into it and see what a couple of people have to say. And then Runner's World actually wrote an article about it, and I am very interested to see what they also have to say.
This ain't it. I absolutely hate this. This is an ad that Nike put up in Boston for the Boston Marathon. Runners welcome. This ain't it. I absolutely hate this. This is an ad that Nike put up in Boston for the Boston Marathon. Runners welcome, walkers tolerated. This is just so disappointing for so many reasons, but I think the biggest thing for me why this feels like a punch in the face is when I started taking running more seriously, when I wanted to learn how to run, I used the Nike Run Club app.
And I feel like they're not the only person who feels this way, because I am like one of a lot of people who I feel like got started when they got back into running. So I did a ton of running in high school. I did track, I did cross country, I played soccer, I played basketball, like a ton. My life was running. Like that's all I did. And I feel like when I was like, oh, I want to get back into running, I also started on the Nike app. It's very intuitive. It's easy to do. I had an Apple Watch at the time, and they syncs right to your Apple Watch. It's so great to use. And yeah, I agree with her disappointment, because it's like, wow, like you are the reason why I got back into it, because it's so easy to use and most people start with walking.
And it changed my perspective on running 100%. It felt welcoming to beginners. It made running like fun and approachable and feel accessible. And like it celebrated going out and running for 5 minutes, and it celebrated running at your own pace, and it made me feel like I could run, and that was huge for me. It was so huge for me. So seeing this is just extremely disappointing. I think it's hard enough as a slower runner to feel like you belong in the running community.
I agree with this, and I actually want to do a whole video of like the toxic running culture that I do feel like has started to come into effect because of TikTok and things like that. And yeah, it's like saying that walking is not, like, if you're walking, you're not considered a runner, which is so not true. Like, I have a half marathon on, not this weekend but next weekend, and I am not prepared for it. It's my own fault. Like, I should have been prepared for it, but I've just had a lot going on personally, and like running was just kind of the backseat. So my cousin and I have decided, because he's coming in for it, that we are going to like walk run it, and he's just gonna do that with me, even though he's like way better shape than me. We're just gonna spend like, some quality time together. I haven't seen him in forever. It's gonna be so much fun. And we still, at the end of the day, will get that half marathon medal because we did the half marathon. And they're not being like, oh, but you walked some of it. They're not going to care. Like, it doesn't matter.
And like I ran my first half marathon a month ago. I took a walking break. I walked up the hill at mile 6 because I needed a minute. I needed to catch my breath. I needed to fuel. It was a hill. I didn't want to push through the hill and then feel like shit. So I walked. And guess what? I finished the half marathon. And I'm running my first marathon in October. I'm probably going to have to take a walking break. And hey, that's fine. It's fine. It's hard for me sometimes to feel like it's fine because stuff like this exists. And that really sucks. And it really sucks that it's coming from Nike. And it really sucks that I felt like that was a brand that was supportive of me as a newer, slower, like average runner. And clearly we were wrong about that. Maybe one argument that you could try to make in favor of this is like, it's up in Boston, it's the Boston Marathon, Famously, it's very hard to get a spot in the Boston Marathon. There are a lot of very fast people who run.
I feel like it being the Boston Marathon, it means that there's going to be more eyes on all of this, and that makes this giant billboard ad. It's not really a billboard, but it's on some sort of building. This ad for Nike. I feel like because it's the Boston Marathon, because it's a bigger race, because more people have eyes on it, this is like could be the reason why somebody gets into running. This could be the reason why somebody takes the first step of walking, because they can't quite run yet because they haven't lost the weight they're looking to do. This could be the reason why they're going to do that, because they are inspired by these people who can run a marathon in ungodly amounts of time that I could not fathom in my lifetime being able to do. And it is what they can do is the most unnatural feat a person can possibly do, because they are pushing their bodies to limits that is so hard to get to, and they're pushing past it. And that's amazing. But walkers are always necessary, because that is where we all started. And this sign really pisses me off.
The Boston Marathon. So maybe you might say the audience is those people. Like maybe this was meant just for those people, but I don't.
Okay, I work in marketing. Like that is the world that I work in. That is my full-time job. I have multiple degrees in marketing. This sign alone had a lot of meetings. Several people signed off on this sign. They had very, like in their minds, they had to list a reason why they wanted to do this sign, because they had like Nike has multiple signs. They're, I think, a big promoter of the Boston Marathon. They put a lot of money into the marathon, and so like this campaign was months and months and months in advance. Like these decisions were made months ago, and they got to sit on these decisions until they were fully realized and put into the world. At any point, somebody could have said, hey, we should probably reconsider this sign. Or somebody might have, and we never know.
I don't know if I really like that argument, because it's all over the internet. Everybody is going to see this. It's not only visible to the people running the Boston Marathon. And, you know, who's to say that the people running the Boston Marathon even, like, would co-sign this? I would hope that a lot of them would not. I'm sure that there are some who would, but I'm also sure that...
Yes, there are those people out there that say that if you walk, you're not a runner, which I heavily disagree with, because if you are running, you're a runner. I don't care if you run for a minute or a mile or 10. Like, you are a runner, and that is impressive. It's doing more than what a lot of people are doing. You're doing something for you, because running is a you sport. Like, you have to want to do running for yourself, because the time and commitment that you spend alone is insane, and being able to do that on your own and like having the discipline to build up to a half marathon or full marathon, even if you were walking throughout it, is a feat in itself, and you should be proud of yourself.
There are some that would not, I hope at least. I really just feel like this is not what we need to be saying, especially as a huge, massive brand that has an app that has getting started programs, and I think tries to encourage newer runners to get into and enjoy running. I just feel like this is like, it's just bad vibes. Maybe I'm taking this too personally, but it's disappointing, and it's pretty lame. This ain't it.
Someone said, I just saw an article that they took it down, and that was 6 minutes ago. So obviously, like, nobody considered the way it would look, or they did and didn't care, and they didn't think they'd get the pushback. I am glad that they're taking it down. Yeah, it's so crazy.
Have you guys seen this Nike ad that says, runners welcome, walkers tolerated? Literally on the streets of Boston for the Boston Marathon. I just want to know, like, who was in charge of picking that as the Nike ad for the Boston Marathon? And how could...
I know that this wasn't the Nike ad. It was a series of ads because they did something today that a lot of people went to. And they're doing a couple of other things like event wise before the race on Monday. And so they're doing a lot of stuff leading up to it, getting people hyped to it, especially if you're not a part of the actual half marathon. Like, it gives people that are coming to watch something to do and be a part of and feel a part of the community. And that's why I feel like this is such a huge miss, because I feel like they could have done a lot of other things. And I do hate that everybody that I found talking about this are smaller creators and not a single bigger creator is talking about this.
They not come up with literally anything more inspirational than that. That's what you have after Jeff Galloway just passed away this year, and we're gonna rip on walking during a marathon? I fear they have fully lost the point. Have you guys seen...
Yeah, I totally agree. The point was definitely lost. There was just so much that could have been put there. Even like runners welcome, walkers is where it started. Anything like that. Like anything, or walking is where you started. Look where you are at now. Like, I don't know. Anything like that. It really just irks me, and I don't.
It's like, do brands not have PR teams anymore? First you can, and now Nike, runners welcome, walkers tolerated. I just can't get behind that. Literally walked multiple marathons, qualified for Boston, then re-qualified by walking again? I mean, come on. It's like, let's think these things through.
Yeah, the amount of people that walk in their training, in the actual halves and full marathons, is insane. And a lot of people, there are multiple people who just walk the entire thing. They're speed walking, so they're walking at like a 15-minute mile pace, which is pretty impressive. I walk my dog all the time, and I actually track it just because like I like to see how far we've gone throughout the month or week or whatever, just to like for my own personal like look at. And her and I together only walk like a 20-minute mile. Yeah, we're like at a leisure pace. I'm sure I could walk faster than that, but I couldn't imagine like walking a half marathon at that pace. Like, people who do that have a lot more grit, because the amount of time that they're spending doing that is a lot longer than the person who's been training for a lot longer amount of time. The person that impresses me more is the one that is walking and running, because they are in that race for the length of time, double and triple the amount of time that the person who is fully trained and they're at the peak of their performance. And those people are also very impressive because they can do something that literally very few people can do. But the walking and the runners who also walk during their race, very impressive because of the amount of time that they spend on that course. Let's look and see what Runner's World had to say about this. Oh, yeah. Nike removes controversial sign in Boston that read, "Runners welcome, walkers tolerated." Awesome. I found the article already, had no idea. I just saw that Runner's World had an article about it, so I clicked on it, and I was like, I will talk about this. Let me get rid of this ad. Let's see. I'm usually a sucker for good running marketing. Same. Give me a perfect timed sign at mile 12. Give me a line that makes you laugh when you're on the verge of collapse, or something that captures what it's like to be out there. When it works, which is so true. During some of my races, I've seen some of the funniest signs that have honestly pushed me to be better, go faster, do more, and I love them. Which is why Nike's poster in Boston that read, "Runners welcome, walkers tolerated," felt like such a mess. The sign, which has since been taken down, was up at Nike's Newbury Street location ahead of Boston Marathon weekend, and it's been criticized online for being exclusionary, which I totally agree, especially because to become this amazing runner, you have to start with walking. On Friday, Nike released a statement about the sign. "We want more people to feel welcome in running, no matter their pace, experience, or the distance. During race week in Boston, we put up a series of signs to encourage runners. One of them missed the mark. We took it down and we'll use this moment to do better, continue showing up for all runners, which I totally agree. Like, I'm glad that they took it down. I'm glad that they're doing something about it, but also, like, I hate that this was a miss that they took because, like I said, all of this had to be approved by a bunch of people. Nike is a massive corporation, and I could only imagine what their approval process is, because I've gone through plenty of approval, different types of approval processes, depending on the size of the company that I've worked for. Let's see here. This person posted the thing and said, I'm talking about the sign. Marketing brilliance or an unnecessary barrier to being active. Walking around Boston today, I've been paying closer attention to how brands communicate after reading some posts exploring Nike. One advert stopped me in my tracks, and if I'm honest, left me feeling uneasy. It was Nike again. Many people taking on the marathon next week will walk all or part of it. For them, what does a message like this say? Does it inspire or does it exclude? There's a counter argument. This is predominantly a time qualification race with a distinct performance culture, which is fair. From that perspective, you could argue this is highly targeted, even strategic marketing. Brands like Nike know their core audience and who is most likely to spend. But that raises a bigger question. What responsibility do brands have in shaping how people feel about movement? Which I agree. And I get that this is a massive race and a lot of people qualify for this race, and then this race qualifies them for other races, and I totally get it. It is a big race. But there are more eyes on this race than just the big race name. Like the people that are in there to be world record breakers. In my experience working with charities and organizations, the right message can open doors, helping people find community, confidence, and a sustainable relationship with physical activity. The wrong messaging can quietly do the opposite. Plus, you can achieve both performance messaging without negatively impacting others. But also, walking is performance. Like, if you're getting 10,000 steps a day, that's amazing. If you're walking 2 to 3 miles a day, that's amazing. Like, I feel like people underestimate the power of walking. So where does this sit? A clever high-performance campaign that cuts through noise and inevitably gets shared, or messaging that risks reinforcing the idea that movement only counts if it looks a certain way. Instead, interested to hear how others see it. Yeah, I think that the messaging is pushing more to it only counts if you're doing it a certain way, and I think that's what irritates me the most about it. And I have always loved Nike. Their shoes are a few of the shoes that my feet actually like. They're not the ones I mainly wear. I mainly wear Brooks. I think that's the shoe I wear. I know it's been a while since I've purchased a pair of shoes. I've been running through the same pair. But their shoes are wide enough for my feet, and I have very minimal arches, and their arch support in their shoes are actually great. So I hate that this is like happening, because I'm like, I want to support you, but this makes it hard. Boston is Boston, a historic race that's hard to get into, but it's also still a marathon, and marathons don't care about your goals or your ego. Sometimes you just have to walk. And no, it's not because you're lazy. It's because it's mile 18 and your hamstring is whispering threads, or maybe because the weather is nasty, your stomach is turning, or you're running for a cause and would rather shuffle it in than blow up spectacularly. Yeah. I know this because I've lived it. In my first marathon, I hurt myself and dragged myself from mile 18 to mile 21. I literally took out my phone and did the finish time math at my new walking pace, trying to stay calm and keep moving forward. And wouldn't you know, I wasn't tolerated, I was loudly and aggressively supported. The crowd roared for me anyway. Strangers who didn't know my name or my story weren't policing whether I was running every step. They were just happy to see someone still moving forward. And by mile 21, I picked my feet back up. I went insanely slow, but my standards, but I ran and I finished. So that's why using the word tolerated feels like it lands so wrong. It's not cheeky in a we're all suffering together kind of way. It reads like walking is something you should be embarrassed about, when for a lot of runners, it's literally the thing that keeps the day from going off the rails, if I can read. That'd be super helpful. But yeah, like, yes, I have this half marathon next weekend. I'll be walking a ton of it, and then after that, I'm actually getting back on track. I'm starting back from the beginning. I'm starting with a 5K, and then I expand out to 10, and then I'll go out to a half, and then I have a full marathon that I'd like to run and like next year. I think it's in February that I'd really like to do. It's the all women's marathon. I think that'd be really fun. I haven't ran a marathon yet. This will be my third half, and honestly, in every single one of my half marathons I've walked, I've been more prepared for some than others, and it is what it is, and nothing beats it. Like, I love the sport. I think it's amazing. It's one of those sports that really lift you up, and it really makes you feel like, wow, I did it. Where was I? Noting they're immensely proud of their very own 6-hour finish time and of having raised more than $21,000 for Dana Farber. I don't know who that is or what that is. So many people seem to forget that when they talk about Boston's exclusivity, some runners are there to race, some runners are there to finish, some runners are there to raise life-changing money. All of them belong on the course. Yes. I don't know why this is making me so emotional. Like, I feel it. Like, in my heart. Like, this really pissed me off. It's also worth noting how the line reads for runners who take walk breaks out of necessity rather than strategy. Robin, a 50 times marathoner and a time qualifier in the adaptive division, wrote, "Due to a spinal cord injury, I have to take walk breaks. Even with a cyst in my spinal cord, I still regularly break 5 hours in Boston and plan to again this weekend. Thank you for tolerating me at Nike." Perhaps you should swing by the adaptive and para-staging area on Monday to see what true grit is all about, which is so true. The adaptive runners, I feel like, is a whole different category of amazing. Like, people who have to adapt to the sport that they're doing, incredible. They impress me every single time. I love the Paralympics. I just think people who do that are so incredibly impressive. And yeah, that's the end of the article for Runner's World. I saw it this morning and I knew I needed to just hop on and make a video, and I'll probably post it later tonight, so you'll see like this on the Friday that all of this happened and went down. And I am truly shocked that they put this out, especially because Nike's always been such a like beginner friendly start with us entrance program. I've also done the Nike app and I've done all of those things, and this was just so frustrating to see, and it's so disheartening to see, because running is supposed to be accessible to all, because it is inherently easy to get into. Is running expensive? Yes. Don't even get me started. That'll be a whole different video. But in its like niche case, no, that's not what I was meant to say. In its like core, all you need is a pair of shoes that you can run in. That is it. Go outside, hit a treadmill, or get on the treadmill. You do not need your phone to track. You do not need a fancy watch to track. You do not need any of that. You need a pair of tennis shoes on your feet. You need a goal in mind and something to strive for. And you just need to hit the pavement and start. That's all you need to start running. But most people start with that goal in mind, and they start running, and then they walk, and then they run, and then they walk. And then that walking time gets smaller. That running distance gets further, and the more impressive they get. It's impressive that you already start, and that's impressive. But just imagine where you could be in a week, in a month, in a year. It's insane what somebody can do with true grit, and I feel like you have to have that to be a runner. Because you get outside, you're by yourself, you have a pair of headphones on, you've got your shoes on, and you set a pace, and you try to keep it for as long as possible. And then you walk a little bit, you take a little sip of water. Depending on how long you're going, you eat something. And then you do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again, until you get to the distance that you're looking for. And that is incredibly hard. And Nike just, they missed the mark. I'm glad they took it down, but they missed the mark. And I hope they do more than just like that short statement that they had. But it is what it is, and I'm so like, I don't know why I got so upset about that. I mean, it is upsetting, but I got very upset about this, and I don't know why. I think it's because like I've just gotten back into running, and I've been in and out of it for years, and walking has just been a huge portion of that, and I couldn't imagine saying that I was just tolerated. That's so upsetting to me, especially for somebody who's never done it before. Like, you are not a burden. I believe in you, and I know you can, like, you will get there, and we all do. So that's it. That's all I have for the day. I know Coachella and everything else is going on in the world, but like, I love running, and this is something I really wanted to talk about, so I did. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I guess I'll see you next week. Let me know if you liked this video, if you like things like this. I'm interested in it, so I definitely wanted to talk about it. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!